Hey everyone, Mr. Devil here, Kenny Danico, three-time Stanley Cup champion of the New Jersey Devils, and you're listening to the Uncle Puckers New Jersey Devils podcast with Chris, Dan, Bobby, and Tony, the Uncle Puckers. Let's go Devils!
Boy. And the sheepy horn.
Yeah.
So, Devils are looking good. What's up, boys? We're the Uncle Puckers, Bobby, Dan, Chris. How you guys doing?
Doing all right. I could tell by the sounds that the Devils did not win their game against Colorado.
Seems a far cry from what we all thought they were going to do, at least in performance, based on our prediction scores.
Yeah,
A little rough.
It was, look, man, this team right now defensively is just abysmal. It's unacceptable. This is really bad hockey that we're playing right now. And, I have a little bit, I guess this will kind of probably be, our first, State of the Devils episode, right? I mean, Dan, you and I did them a little bit when we first started a little bit.
Sure.
I think we kind of, when you guys joined us, we were close to the playoffs. I don't think we did it so much because we were just kind of, talking about all that excitement, but like the actual state of the Devils and where they stand and what they're doing and what they're doing good and what they're doing bad. Mm-hmm. We have 46 goals for so far this year. The league average is 38. Okay, so we're above in that. We're
Definitely.
Sixth in the NHL in goals for.
Very good.
Goals against.
Yeah.
We have 44 goals against. The league average is 38. We are 25th in the NHL, and right now only have a goal differential through 12 games of +2.
Yeah, and it's kind of amazing that they have a 7-4-1 record. When you really think about how many goals they gave up, they've won a lot of high-scoring games. That's what it means, and you just that's not a recipe for playoff success, and it's not a recipe for winning the conference, the division, or even necessarily making the playoffs. Something's got to get better.
Yeah, you're saying playoff success. I think right now this team should not even be thinking
Playoffs?
about playoffs. Yeah, exactly. They need to be talking about how they're going to fix these problems because they have legitimate problems. Our power play is still clicking at 41.7%. That's good for first. Penalty kill. I think we were like 26th or so last week. We did move up a little bit. We're 19th, 76.7%. We were 4th last year. We finished 4th in penalty kill last year. We're 19th.
Yeah, that's a big fall off.
That's
Explains
a
a lot of the problems they have right now. I don't know what our shorthanded goal, but after last game, I was just thinking we have to do better on shorthanded goals. I mean, that was pretty poor.
Yeah. I mean, then let's talk about our goaltending.
Yeah, I mean, okay, look, overall, the numbers don't lie. The goaltenders are not playing that at their very best, but there's a lot of extenuating circumstances. And let's just take, for example, Colorado's game. I will argue with anyone who says Vanacek had a bad game. I think he had a fantastic game. I thought he made some amazing saves. He held them in there. Way too many chances, way too many high-quality chances against him.
13, I think.
Right, and it was ridiculous. You should not have such high-quality chances in that number and expect to win any games. And I don't care who your goaltender is in the league. And I thought Vanacek did a great job keeping them in the game through 2 periods in a game where they were so sloppy they didn't deserve to be tied with Colorado through 2 periods.
I agree.
And so, have there been other games where maybe he could have done better? Sure. Has Schmid not come out and impressed? Absolutely. So, goaltending is not like, out of the question, could be improved, could definitely be improved, but I see our defense is the bigger problem.
Yes, I agree with that. I know people don't put a whole lot of stock into plus minus anymore. I actually do. I do think it's an important stat. I mean, in the bigger the big picture of things over the course of an 82 game schedule, I do think it is important because it will kind of tell you, who are your stronger guys, who are your weaker guys. Do you know how many guys on this lineup? I'm going to ask you guys to just guess. How many guys in this lineup do you think are a plus?
I'm going to go.
You're talking about
two to three.
No. The whole team, Dan. 20 guys. Who's a plus?
Oh, yeah, a team that has a 7-4 record, you got to think it's more than 2 or 3. But I'm kind of with Bob on this. I don't think we have enough. That's for sure.
2.
Wow,
it's 2.
Yeah, it is.
And they're both +1,
right?
And it's Michael McLeod and Jesper Bratt.
Get out of here.
We do have 5 guys with that are even. Okay, the only 3 of them have played a significant amount of games with the team, and that's Eric Holla, Luke Hughes, and Curtis Lazar. Willman and Nosek also come in at even, but
they just
Nosek played 2 games, and I think they both only played like 2 or 3.
I don't even think they factor in right now.
But we gotta talk about fixes that maybe need to be done. I mean, the defensive pairings are not working.
No, right, absolutely. The first game without Hughes, they pulled it together, and it looked like they were going to go down that road of team play. We'll win the day while they're gone. But they went back to showing exactly why this team only has a 7-4 record because of the amazing scoring talent of guys like Hughes.
And which we said, they're going to have to outscore their problems in the beginning of the year until we thought our young defensemen, meaning mostly, only really Ball and Luke Hughes, would need a little bit of time to just kind of get into the system.
Right.
Ball and Luke Hughes are not our problem. It is the other,
guys I would have never believed would be so consistently lackluster this season.
I mean, they're soft. Yeah. There's no fight. Nope. I mean, this is just the truth. Their forecheck is pitiful. I mean, maybe the Lazard line can get some kind of forecheck going, but they don't. They're missing their transition passes to even build off any kind of offense. Like this is not the team that we all signed up for. That really thought that we were getting this year. This is I think pretty bad.
I'm just kind of shocked with Siegenthaler, Marino, how consistently out of position they've been. I mean, you had one play. I'm trying to remember if it was the 4th goal for the Avs, 3rd period. They give away a breakaway bad enough, and Vanacek makes a really good save, kicks it back out. The trailer gets the puck. I mean, Marino, the defenseman, was the last one in the zone. He's our defenseman. He was the last one in the zone, and he just limped in there. And I was shocked to see him, playing so far behind. It was just, that kind of stuff should not happen. I don't know what's going on with him, with Siegenthaler, but they need to get it together.
Bob?
I can't quite figure out what I'm watching, to be honest. I don't know if it can't be strictly the compete level, because you'd think that they would just find a way to get that gear going. Line mates, is the chemistry not there? I mean, some of these guys did play together last year when they had fantastic years. So I'm really kind of confused at what I'm seeing. I'm still the guy who's sitting here saying, listen, it's early in the season. We're still in 3rd place in the Metro. They've shown what they can do. If they could just put it all together, they're not even all together, mostly together. The problem is they're not even doing that anymore. This team could be so much better. It's incredible. I'm at a loss.
I mean, I am too. I really I'm watching this game, the Colorado game, and I didn't stay up for the whole thing, but I watched the highlights. I watched the 1st period live, and it's just no effort. It's these guys, and look, did this team just basically ride Jack's coattails, and basically he was, because it does seem like that, right? He goes out of the lineup. Nobody's saying, look, here's my other, where are our leaders? Let me ask you, who are our leaders? Because I know we like to say the Palots and the Toffolis and those guys, but are they? I mean, are they leading? Are they taking?
Happens in the locker room, but I will tell you, Palat was one of our better players last game.
He's been. I give him. I give Palat a ton of credit.
So I have a hard time knocking him, but I get your point. Where are the leaders?
This should be, certain guys in this locker room should be
Paula as a leader,
disgusted, and they should be holding account everybody in that lineup. And I don't know if that's happening. And
I didn't see him have a fiery game against the Avs. I didn't see Halla really like raising his level like we need him to right now.
No, there was none of that. I know that we'd say it a lot. Tony harps on it a lot. How soft this team is, and I think the first half through halfway through the first 6 games, maybe halfway through these 12 games, I was kind of like, they'll be all right. I don't know. They are soft.
I thought the same thing. I thought little by little it was coming around. We did all the analysis over the summer too. We know how they physically actually got bigger and how, this guy being a little bigger, this guy being a little tougher, how the sum of all those small parts should add up to a more significant heavy game all around. Eventually.
We haven't got that from Timo Meier and others.
We haven't really gotten it from most. And Timo's a prime example too. Not only have we not gotten that, he's got 9 points and he's a -9. Now here's a guy, I think back to remember the early years of Malkin and Crosby? Like, we know Crosby is the better player, but Malkin's no slouch, right? But he always picked up his game so much when Crosby was out. His production would go up, and then Crosby comes back and it goes down. I don't know what that is. It's kind of like defer to the 1A guy. I don't know. But you would think with a guy like Meier, with these 2 main guys out.
Well, what it is, too.
Yeah, this is my turn.
But and that's what it is too. It's when certain everybody has their jobs to do, and the bottom line is now you're getting an opportunity. That's the other thing. Like, there are a lot of guys getting opportunities now, opportunities on the power play, opportunities.
Everybody moves up.
More minutes and everything like that. And who's stepping up?
Right.
Who are the ones that it's and not only that, like. I know where you're going with that. Like, this is a time where Timo needs to be that guy.
Right, and to be fair, he had a goal. I get it.
But to me, Timo is not the guy that needs to be that guy right now. That guy needs to be Jesper Bratt.
Well, that's a great point.
You're I think 5th in the league in scoring. Like, dude, this is not your disappearing act time. Like,
you said that when Jack was injured. Bratt cannot go missing now.
Yep.
And it's fallen off as quick as it started, too. That's the thing. Like, we can literally see this going another 3-4 games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that Hischier comes back. I don't know if he's going to come back tomorrow against the Capitals. I'm hoping that he does. Maybe he's, he is our captain. Maybe he can be that anchor to kind of get these guys back to playing some competent hockey, because right now they're not. And I don't want to be this, like, the fire Lindy guy, and I'm not going to say fire him, but I think we have to really start talking about, is he doing what's best for this team, right? Like, we have kept the same defensive pairings together for 12 games, basically, and they have just steadily gotten worse. But
I haven't heard him speak much on that in post game interviews. I actually heard more from Fitzgerald recently about how he was not satisfied with it. He says it's developing, and it didn't offer any great information. But I'm really curious. Where is the team defense plan, or the state of the Devils in Lindy's plan? How satisfied is he with that? Like, I just want to know that there's a better team defense plan coming from Lindy, right? I'm starting to get a little nervous that Lindy's thinking we're going to outscore our opponent, and even if it takes double digits, we don't need defense. I'm sure he doesn't think that, but I would love to hear it from him.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about a team real quick that I think is playing phenomenal hockey right now, and that's the New York Rangers. Yes. And the reason that the Rangers are playing such great hockey, and I give, Gerard Gallant had this team playing north and south, had them run and gun with the likes of the Devils and the Canes and the Maple Leafs and all these other really fast teams, and they couldn't keep up. And Peter Laviolette comes in this year, and he basically looks at this team and says, all right, you want to play your speed game, you're going to lose. You're going to play defense. You're going to, we're going to play a 1-2-2. We're going to use our speed and, our skill to be a good power play. We're going to get up on opponents and we're going to lock it down. And every single dude so far, and I know 12 games in, have bought into that system and have been playing really, really good hockey.
Look like a totally different team.
They look like a different team.
And
they look like a playoff team. They look like a team you don't want to touch in the playoffs right now. And where is that from us? Because I'm not satisfied with we don't have the players. I don't believe that it's a personnel problem.
Absolutely. I'm afraid they've overcorrected for having such talent to think that, I mean, in other words, look at it this way. I kind of, and maybe it's because we're old school Devil fans, I kind of like that attitude, whether it really is what Lavallette's saying to the guys or just your interpretation. I tend to think you're right, but I think that attitude for our guys would be a fantastic fit, because when you have guys this talented working to clamp down on games and they score at twice the rate as a team with the talent of the Rangers, you have not only a playoff team, you have a Stanley Cup contender. And if we need that from this team. We cannot say, listen, this is amazing talent we got here. These guys are going to score. Don't worry.
And we all know that offense comes from sound defense. You get it. Yes. When you're getting the puck out of your zone quickly, it's causing odd man rushes possibly. You're causing more offensive zone time. Sure. We are getting trapped in our zones. We are, we can't get the puck out. We're making stupid play after stupid play. And then, when we're trying to do the best part of our game, which is our transition, our entry, our offensive zone, especially against Colorado, we're coughing the thing up left and right. It's just this is just sloppy hockey.
That's the one word that kept coming to my mind. This is the sloppiest they've been all year.
Yeah.
Past game.
And,
they need to change that. Yeah.
Some of this comes on the coach. I believe that.
It has to.
They are definitely sloppy. And I think in total, we certainly haven't seen the team that we thought we were going to see. And I know everybody gets injuries, but just to look at the other side for a second, I mean, literally our centers are flopped. I mean, we have Michael McLeod as our first line center. There was a lot of guys that have reseeded. And I'm not making an excuse that it takes a long time to gel and all this. I'm saying that they should still have the compete and the where. You think you take a guy like Mike McLeod and say, hey, you're a heart and soul type of guy, just go up to the first line and do what you do. But it is going to wind up being different. And it really has kind of reset everybody. So you take away that energy and that kind of special ability of that fourth line, to come out with all that energy like they used to do last year, and how much that can set up skilled lines. And now you don't really have that either. So in every stage, in every line change, you're just a little off. I think that with a little bit of time, that should go away. But what's more concerning to me is what I put in there, that these players aren't showing me the compete regardless of where they are in that line. You know what I mean? Right. I don't care that you're the 1A center right now, Mike McLeod. I still want to see you driving like you've always done and just kind of being an engine.
You make a good point about them offensively needing a little time, but aren't you kind of surprised that you don't see the urgency on the defensive side?
That's what I was just going to say. What you say, it makes perfect sense offensively, but that's not their issue. Their issue is these guys should still be playing defense. They're not. They're just. Right. I don't know what it is. Is it just that their offense is so bad now that they, without these two guys, that they're maybe are they overcompensating? They're trying too hard on offense. It's causing
maybe they're
mistakes
chasing a lot. Because instead of us leading the game and taking charge of the game, right, we're the team that's always that step behind, and it just throws you off the whole way. We're chasing the whole game, regardless of the score. You know what I mean? We don't ever seem like we're owning the game. We're not controlling the game 5-on-5. When you're not doing that, that means you're following the game. So now you're even more out of line.
I just think they don't know how to win a dirty, ugly game, too. You're right. Their game should be to do exactly what you're saying. Get on top, control the game. That's what a winning team with superior talent should be able to do. So I'm with you. But I also feel like a team that is successful, especially through an injury spate, needs to be able to win some ugly games and do some gritty stuff. And we're going to play, stronger defense because we realize, hey, we're coughing the puck up to Nate McKinnon and the Colorado Avalanche at such a high rate. There's no way we can win this goddamn game,
Right.
And that's the part that's frustrating, because I never saw that urgency on the defensive side. And I'm not just picking on the defensive core because they were not great, but as a team defense, I just don't see that hustle in our own end. Let's put it that way.
Well, there was a little bit of rumblings that the Calgary Flames, who are not doing very good right now, are looking to possibly get rid of a couple of D-men. And there are a few dudes that are names that were brought out. All right. Noah Hannafin was one. Okay. He's 27. I haven't seen too many of these guys play. I have to just say, I don't watch Calgary very often. I know the name. he's a big boy. He's 6'3". He's 207 pounds. He's got two goals and 4 assists this year. He does make close to $5 million a year. This is the last year of his contract, so even if you're just looking for a rental, it's not going to cost you nearly that. The next guy was Chris Tanev. That he's 34, 6'2", 193 pounds. He has 2 assists this year. He also makes 4.5. Nikita Zadarov is 28, 6'6", 250 pounds. That's a big boy. 4 assists, 3.75. And the last one is Dennis Gilbert, or Gilbert, I don't know how you pronounce it. 27, 6'2", 216. He has 1 assist on the year. He makes $775K. They're all minus 6 for Hanifin, -4 for Tanev, no, -7 for Zadarov, and -1 for Gilbert. Flames aren't very good, but do you guys think it's too early to even think about possibly making a trade for a solid big defenseman that can, be more of a stay-at-home dude?
It's never too early to improve your team when you have this kind of a glaring weakness.
See, I read what Tom Fitzgerald said, and to me, he sounded, if you can get a person's reaction from an article, but it seemed to me like he was disgusted. It seemed, and he didn't just throw out he didn't, when they mentioned about trading for somebody, he basically said, I'm always looking.
Oh yeah, and you should, and especially for some positions more than others. The Brendan Smith experiment here is not working out. So if you could replace him with the guy that you think has a better upside, I think that's a move you pull the trigger on right away, because I don't think we're still developing a relationship with Brendan Smith. We needed him to perform, and we need him to perform basically now.
Well,
right? We don't have the patience.
17 years, Dan. I mean, give the guy a chance.
Right, exactly. So, this isn't Luke Hughes. This isn't, Kevin Ball. Those guys we're going to hold on to. We're going to develop. And it's funny, they're really not the problem here. I am concerned with John Marino. He's not been good this year. Let's get rid of him. Hold on a second. Marino is a real talent. I need to know what the hell's going on with John. If I'm Fitzgerald, I'm talking to coach. Is something wrong? Where did John? He's the biggest surprise defensively, the biggest letdown for the team, just because the Devils fans, and I think rightfully so, any hockey analyst would say John Marino was a stud last year. If he plays, 75-80% of that level, you guys are going to be perfectly fine, defensively with him. That has not been the case this year. So, I mean,
it's like
and then
Ty Smith part 2.
Sure, Siegenthaler's been a big part of this team. He's got one of their core guys when you really look at what they've done with contracts and everything else, and that's looking a little bit like, not such a great move, not such a big payoff. He has been good at times, but he's been very inconsistent this year, and maybe not quite as surprised at his play as Marino, just because Marino started at an even higher level in my estimation. But again, not doing great. Are we going to replace Siegenthaler and Marino with those guys you mentioned, Calgary?
No.
I don't think so. I don't think we should even try at this point. I think maybe if we could make a move on a guy to replace Smith in the lineup, I think that'd be a positive.
I think Smith is the guy that has to go, and we've been saying that pretty much since Game 4. That why is he still in the lineup? Even in Utica, we don't have anybody that is that bad that we can call up.
I know Miller's still hurt, but somebody.
Yeah. I mean, there's got to be somebody. But I mean, I think, and also, if you were to pull the trigger on a trade this early in the season, which of course is probably most likely not going to happen, but if you were, that also sends a message to this team.
Sure, but I'm worried about the wrong message too, because the defense, I would say, if you're going to take 3 possible categories, positions, forwards, or goaltending, the defense is the thing that has to change the fastest. Absolutely. But it's really a team defense right behind that. And, forwards, I know we have injuries, but we need coaching and certain players on that team to lead on how the forwards are responsible for a team defense and being part of the solution to the defensive problems. Because especially with Nico out of the lineup, or, he's our sulky guy, absolutely. We knew we were going to look for more from these guys, and we've actually, I feel like, gotten less in these last few games.
I mean, I know that Marino and Siegenthaler and Smith are our 3 problem defensemen right now. But Dan, I could not agree with you more. And this comes down to this is a team problem. It's not just our defensive guys' problems. Yes, Brendan Smith has been bad. Yes, I would like to see him replaced.
We've been making a big mistake depending on just the goaltending, just the D. It's a team defense.
And this is why I look at Lindy Ruff. Like, what is the plan? Who are we? What's this team's identity? Because I don't know. I mean, it was for 10 games, our identity was Jack Hughes. Well, now Jack's not in the lineup. And what is this team without Jack Hughes? Because they don't seem like they are anything. They have no identity. You can go in, like, you don't know what you're going to get from night to night. There's no consistent play. There's nothing. Like, I saw this team last year was one of the best 5-on-5 teams in hockey.
Right.
And Hughes was out a couple of games, and they didn't miss a beat. Yeah. And they just
Jack
kept on
brings
rolling.
So much heart. I understand how you're missing a lot of that heart right up there in front. But you know what? I've never thought of him as a linchpin to our team defense situation.
No.
His energy's great, and I'm not saying he hasn't pitched him when called upon or he's defensively a horrible, player. Not at all. I'm just saying I've never thought his job was to be the defensive leader on the team. And, maybe more Nico for that. I get it. Nico has been a great defensive forward when called upon, and that's kind of been his role. But, I think we should have other guys to do that too. Eric Hollis should be our guy with this. Other players who have the capability, and we don't think of them primarily as defense. You mentioned Jesper Bratt. Let's face it, he's got all the talent in the world. If he wants to pitch in defensively hard for his team, he can. Don't forget, some of the greatest players, when they need to, even though nobody thinks of him as defense, will play a tough-ass defensive game. Think of Sidney Crosby, right? He's done that for his team. When he needs, his team needs defensive commitment from forwards, he'll risk his body. With all the talent in the world, he doesn't mind.
And so will Jack.
Exactly. And despite effectiveness on defensive plays or the amount of times they find themselves there, the intangible of like coming through at crunch time, that's what we need from a guy like Jesper Bratt. Jesper Bratt could be the number one player on a lot of different teams on paper, but this is part of his game he needs if he's ever going to be truly great.
Yeah. I put a lot of it on coaching, but Bobby.
Yes, sir.
You got a game or something you want to play or try?
A little bit of a segment.
An idea, a segment.
Yeah, we're going to see if it works.
All right. What is it?
So I have
Buckle up.
acquired basically a calendar. Mm-hmm. For every day of the year, it's got something to do with the Devils.
Okay.
Some of it's trivia, some of it doesn't really work, but some of it is a very specific moment in time. What I'd like to do is have a little segment about the Devils being more relevant than the Rangers and perhaps some of the NHL. So I'm going to do
like
each week.
Your day in Devils history or something? Is that what we're talking about?
It's not quite that robust. So each week I can go into this calendar and try to find something that we can compare to the Rangers or the rest of the NHL by Googling something like this day in hockey history. What we're going to do, this little game, is to see if the Devils are more relevant than the Rangers and perhaps the NHL in general. And we can keep score. And I will give you the first example, because what we can do is have everybody read or have everybody try to Google something better than what I have in front of me right now.
Now, I've never Googled. I've been asking Jeeves. Can I play too?
You can ask Jeeves.
All right.
What about Bing? Can I use Bing?
You can ask Bing.
Bing.
So, for example, on this day, on November 9th, 2001, Patrick Elias scored 3 goals, including the game-tying goal at the 19-minute and 20-second mark of the third period and the game-winning goal in overtime in the Devils' 3-2 win over the Toronto Maple Leafs. So, I then Googled this day in New York Rangers hockey history, trying to find something similar. I could find nothing for this particular day. The closest I could find was the beginning of a 3-game losing streak between November 6th and 10th, where they lost 6-3 to the Canes, 2-1 to the Flyers, and 5-4 to the Oilers. This day in hockey history, Devils 1, Rangers 0.
All right, so we start out with a big win for the Devils.
So then I took it a step further. I said, well, all right, that's Devils against the Rangers. Let's see how we stack up against this day in NHL history. And this I found an exact day. On this day in November of 1957, let's see, Claude Prevost of the Montreal Canadiens scored the fastest goal to start a period ever at 4 seconds. Now, on the surface, I'm thinking, I think that's got Patrick Elash's hat trick beat. Then I went on to read that since then, it's been tied by Dennis Savard and JVR of the Flyers. So now 3 people have scored in 4 seconds. Therefore, it's irrelevant. Happens too often. Point Devils. Devils are more relevant than the NHL and the Rangers.
I agree. I will vote along with you when it comes to that, Bobby. Definitely.
And on this day in hockey history, yes, the Devils definitely seem to have the advantage over the entire NHL and the hockey world.
NHL.
Now, tomorrow in hockey history, the first NHL penalty shot was awarded to Montreal Canadian forward Armand Mondeau, and it was stopped by George Hainsworth of the Maple Leafs, and the Maple Leafs won 2-1. Is that more important?
Well, see, here's relevant? How I was trying to do
it. The first ever penalty shot, but that's also tomorrow.
Before I actually went ahead and got this data, I was testing it first last month, and when I Googled this day in hockey history, I was getting successful hits on the actual date.
Okay.
So I just assumed that was going to work. And then sure enough, I started with this one, and it did not pan out. So first I had to pick this week from the 5th to the 10th and pick one of the things. Okay. And then if I can't find an exact date, like in the case of the Rangers, I'll just pull up anything shitty they've done so we could throw it in there and get the win. But I am trying to find it for this date.
You're taking this whole game. You're waiting.
It's slightly biased, slightly leaning towards the Devils, but it's a Devils podcast. So
this is going to be tough to beat. On November 9th, in 1620, the passengers and crew of the Mayflower sighted Cape Cod. This led to the founding of Boston and the Boston Bruins. So it's a day in hockey history. Pretty profound day. I still vote for the Devils.
Are you? Maybe you're suggesting it's the Devils versus the Rangers, the NHL, and then the world?
Yes.
Well, just the Pilgrims.
The Pilgrims.
Fuck those Pilgrims.
Sheila, they bought their tickets. They knew what they were getting into. I say, let them crash. The Mayflower.
That's right. Roanoke.
All right. I like that game. Come up with a name for it.
Yeah, that's a good one. We'll try to come up with it.
You know what other game I like?
Nice long name. We'll figure it out.
You know what other game I like?
I don't know.
What other game do you like?
I like football. I'm a big football guy. There's actually football.
Bet you do.
There's football being played right now as we speak. The NFL is putting the 2 juggernauts of the Carolina Panthers and the Chicago Bears one-on-one tonight on Thursday Night Football with Al Michaels calling the games. I just have to bring this up. Have you guys watched any Thursday Night Football? I'm sure you probably haven't.
Not in years, to be honest.
So Al Michaels does the play-by-play. All right, famous Al Michaels, who so obviously is phoning this in for a fucking paycheck nowadays. He has zero interest in calling these games. I mean, if he was this way in 1980, this would have been the call at the end of the Olympics. And the United States has just beaten Russia to go on to the gold medal round against Finland. This is considered probably the biggest upset in Olympic hockey history.
A lot of excitement.
Now we'll go to curling. Yeah.
What? That happens sometimes. There's a crossover between certain football guys and guys who might do golf, right?
Pat Summerall. But he always did football. He always did it with energy.
Right.
Like, it's just, this isn't because it's football. This is because he just is like, he gets paid $1 million a game.
Right.
So he's phoning it in. I mean, the dude just doesn't care anymore. So it's really bad, but check it out. But for anyone else that just wants to watch the football game, maybe has a little action on it, I'm just telling you, there's only one real good place to go and get that action. And since the NFL season's going strong, DraftKings Sportsbook is hooking new customers up with an offer that's even stronger. Bet $5 on any game this week to score $200 instantly in bonus bets. Like I said, drop a few bucks on Carolina, maybe some on Chicago. I think Chicago was favored by 1.5. I don't even remember. I didn't check my sportsbook, my DraftKings
prop
sportsbook.
bets in there if Al Michaels falls asleep.
I think there is one for Al Michaels to fall asleep.
I would get in that action. That sounds great.
Yeah, I think he actually fell asleep last week, so it probably doesn't pay much. But get in on game day greatness like Al Michaels and download the DraftKings Sports app now and use code THPN. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets when you bet 5 on the NFL. That's code THPN only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort licensee partner, Golden Nugget, Lake Charles, Louisiana. 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I love reading that.
It's great. It really is.
So
you know what
fun.
is also great? It's the holiday season. It's the holiday season.
The holidays make me crazy, Dan.
Well, one thing I don't like about the holidays is, the holiday shopping craze. I don't know about you guys.
It's nuts.
It's too hectic.
I don't want to go to malls and deal with people and crowds.
I had the misfortune of going to a mall the other day, and I saw an old lady ran over because somebody's trying to get the best deal. Yeah, and I felt like it was my grandmother. But anyway, I might have been the one.
The one who got hit by a car?
I was driving the
bus.
car.
It was a bus.
I probably shouldn't be admitting to this right now because I didn't stop. I just kept going. I'm just saying the holiday season is fraught with danger, and it's a problem.
So you should stay inside.
You should. And you know what? The other problem is these people are going out. You know why they're driving around so crazy? They don't know when those holiday sales are going to start, right? They're afraid they might have to wait all the way to Black Friday. What if they just started now? Well, guys, that's exactly what Raycon's done. They said, in order to save lives out there, to stop those stampedes at Walmart and other stupid behavior, they're offering their Black Friday sale right now. Right now. It's active. In fact, it was active yesterday. I'm sorry I didn't tell everybody yesterday. It's on right now. You should go there. You could shop Raycon products and save up to 50% off because their early Black Friday sales going on now. And guys, you've heard me talk about Raycon before.
Constantly.
I never stop, really.
Once or twice.
And it's because, I keep my Raycons in at all times, and I think they might be telling me to do things. But mostly it's because I like the product. And I've tried other products. I want to listen to something for like at least 30 hours straight.
That's impossible.
I've had such a hard time with it. I put on 30 hours of white noise, and the thing conks out after 28 hours, 29 hours. Bullshit. I can't go on like this. So with my Raycons, they will last 32 hours.
Get the fuck out of
32
here.
Full hours. Yes, I missed a day of work just to see.
No, you gotta be serious.
I'm serious.
But you put your earbuds in, you keep them in every day?
By the way. Oh, all the time. All the time. I wear them everywhere. They're great. You know why? They're called everyday earbuds. Not just like some days, Tuesdays earbuds, Thursdays earbuds. These are everyday earbuds. You got to wear them every day. Maybe you don't have to. I like to. You're going to love it.
They're like contact lenses for your ears.
Yeah, and I did see this one little video of a woman who had like 40 pairs of contacts in her eye. The doctors had to pull out with tweezers and stuff. They lifted her eyelid in this video and they pulled out like tons of contact. And I'm wondering what's wrong with this woman. Does she think they just evaporate? Like, how did this happen?
Did she think her eyes were getting worse and she had to keep doubling them up?
Yeah, that she was trying to fix her prescription, you mean? Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. But they were like hanging out in the corner of her eye. My guess is she went to sleep and they would like just hang out there. Well, you're not going to have a problem like that with your Raycons. That's for sure. These, first of all, go in your ear, and they're very a good fit. They're not like gonna get lost in your ear. It's what we call a perfect fit. Perfect fit, And just when you think Raycon, you're on top of the earbud industry. Nobody makes a better product. Where do you go from here? And they're like, oh, you want to know where we go from here?
I have an idea.
Guys, oh, you do?
Water filters?
That is, yes, that's the one prong of their two-prong attack. Water filters. Let me tell you about that water
natural
filter.
succession.
Well, it makes sense in some way. Faucet filter is an ultra filter that filters the water in your tap against chlorine and heavy metals, not the music. That'll come through loud and clear in your Raycon earbuds, your everyday earbuds. But you don't want that heavy metal in your water. You really just don't want it. It's a foul taste. It's a must-have to have these water filters to ensure that the water you use is, actually clean. They also make another product. By the way, that's from Raycon Home. Raycon PowerTech is now producing a 5-star reviewed Magic 180 cable, which is just an amazing thing to consider. That's the product, Magic 180 cable. It allows you to charge iOS, micro USB, Type-C devices, 8 times faster with 100 watts of power delivery. That's a lot of power, guys.
1.21 gigawatts?
It's enough to go back to the future. Absolutely. It's been proven. So Raycon's known for developing all these great products. And to get everyone in the holiday shopping spirit a bit early, they're offering this 20% off everything on their site with select products up to 50% off right now. Beat those crowds. And I don't mean physically beat them. Don't go down there with pipes and say this is assault on American materialism. You're all going down today.
And
Don't
Uncle
do that.
Punker Dan told me to do it.
Right. Instead, I'm telling you, beat the crowds by going around the crowds. Buy your Raycons online. Do it now. Hurry now to raycon.com/THPN to get 20 to 50% off site-wide. That's buyraycon.com/THPN to score up to 50% off Raycon products. Buyraycon.com/THPN.
With that concise of a portfolio, I don't see how you can't go out and buy all three things right now. It just seems like it's all zipped up there for you. one neat little
I
package.
think they have like the modern day Ron Popeil working at Raycon or something. He's just got a new invention that he wants to share with his company. I love it.
Raycon,
it's a shower mate.
Exactly. I wonder what they're going to come up with next.
I can't wait for their next ad. I think it's probably going to be like a sombrero that you can drink beer out of, and also holds nachos.
I love it. That's great. I feel like Homer Simpson might have invented that already somehow.
I don't think there were beers.
Okay.
I just upped it. I made it better. I improved an existing invention.
This podcast doesn't work out. You should probably ask Raycon if they are hiring.
I would love to go work for Raycon, and I keep my everyday earbuds in, drink my heavy metal-less water, and charge my any device like that.
Yeah, eight times faster.
8 times. 8 times faster. That's a ridiculous times to be faster. I mean, think about it.
I'm afraid my phone's going to blow up at those speeds. But all right.
Think about if you did everything in your life 8 times faster than you normally do.
Wow.
The commercial that you just read would have only been 20 minutes long.
I don't know how to get out of those things.
It's great.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Is that the Raycon ad?
Yeah.
So, oh my God, this is so depressing though, man. Like this fucking, I hate it. Like we had the highest of expectations, and it's just like
I'm just trying to keep
the wheels
positive because it feels horrible. But listen, we got a couple injuries. Teams coming back. They haven't hit their stride yet. We know they're capable of doing better than this on every level, and they still have a winning record. So
some more silver lining.
Silver linings, please. Let's do our silver linings.
Silver lining, number one. I mean, we're 2 wins separated from a Rangers team that is playing way better than us. 2 wins so far, only 12 games in. That's a silver lining. You look at the last 10, stretch of 10. This is definitely a tough stretch for us. We're 6-4. I know it doesn't seem great because we have high expectations.
It's not
6-4 happens at any time during the year. It's just kind of hockey, right? 6 out of 6-4 throughout the whole year is 50 wins alone. That's
I think we're 7-4,
and we're not even playing well. So there's some silver linings for you.
Yeah, we're 7-4.
No, I'm saying
6-4 in the last 10. Yeah,
in the last 10.
Oh, I see your point. Yeah, absolutely.
I remember the great Lou Lamoriello once said he likes to look at the season in groups of 10. So I did that.
Not 11. He didn't say 11.
No, 12.
If he
12,
did, that would
not.
cover most of the.
What did he do with the last 2 games? Was that its own? There were 8 blocks of 10, and then did he just?
It's more whatever you want to start
they
your
don't
10.
Count.
No,
you know.
Oh, so he still maybe started the 10 in the second.
So
week
you're on
of
day
the
10 on the 10th game of the
3.
season, but then like on
you
your
dropped
11th
2
game,
random games throughout the year.
You're on day 10 from the second game of the season. There's a million ways to look at it, glass half full kind of thing. That's what I'm going for right
That's
here.
your point, right, Bob?
That's your silver.
That's my point.
Right.
That's my point.
Dan, what's your silver lining?
I think it's mostly that as awful as this team has played at times, as horrible as, when you look at we're giving up, what'd you say it was 8th most goals in the league and just letting, or maybe more, 6th most
We're
goals?
sixth most goal. No,
Sixth
well, no.
goals in the league.
Yeah. Well, we're 25th in goals against right now, so we're bottom 7.
Yeah, it's horrible. Despite that,
Which
you would
I guess
think a
is
team
top
like
7, depending on how you look at it.
That's right. A team in that position
Goal.
should have at most 500. That's if their offense is doing something. We're 7-4. We're significantly over 500. So that's what I'm saying. Despite this team playing pretty abysmally so far, not being able to put a whole game together, only getting close to playing an entire 60-minute game a few games ago and not even achieving that. They're still got a winning record. So there's a lot of reasons to be hopeful that they can get this down, and imagine what a dominant team they're going to be when they play a good team defense and have, everybody contributing on a normal level.
I would be a lot more pessimistic and upset about this if we were out of a playoff spot right now. If we were, the Edmonton Oilers, I'll say, really like their fans are in true paranoid,
Right. That's been
freaking
a crash
out
and burn.
Right.
We're not seeing here.
My silver lining, I'm going to bring back to football. So the Vikings, like the Devils, had high expectations this year. Maybe not so much amongst the national media, but amongst people that were in the know of the Viking, the team and what they were doing. We felt pretty good. We were 0-3, and then we were 1-4, and then we lost our best wide receiver in the league, and then we lost our quarterback for the season, and then about 5 weeks ago, they just started winning, and they haven't stopped. So It's just they've bought in to the culture. They've bought into the fact that, hey, everybody's going to have to work a little bit harder. Everybody's going to have to work for the guy standing next to you, and everybody's got to pull together as a team. And right now, they look like a very dangerous football team. I know that we're going to have stretches where we're going to, go, maybe 2-3 in 5 games and stuff like that. I know that we're going to have rough stretches throughout the year. I also know that when this team figures it out, and I'm confident that they'll figure it out. I don't know when they're going to figure it out, but I do know they will start rattling off wins. And when they come, and when this team does get to form, they are going to be one of the best teams in the league. I'm just worried. I've always been a little bit nervous about Lindy Ruff, and you guys know this. Dan, I think you and I kind of feel the same way about this. I don't have all the trust in the world in this guy. And, now is the time where he has to really start coaching, earning his money, and getting these guys to buy into whatever system it is that we're going to play. What is our identity, Lindy? Who are we? We can't just be the Jack Hughes team. We got to be something more than that, especially if you want to compete for a Stanley Cup. And I just want to start seeing it.
No, yeah, that's very fair criticism. Definitely.
I think he's still trying to get them to play to their original identity that they never really hit stride on this year. And now they got all these bumps in the way, which isn't making it any easier. So I don't think Lindy's going to say, all right, pump the brakes. We're going to play a completely different style now for a few weeks till we get our guys back. I don't think that resonates well. I think he's still just trying to get them into that gear they had last year, regardless of who was on the ice.
Well, you brought up a good point. It's like, why does the team not have an identity before Nico and Jack go down? Because they didn't. You're right. They didn't even play to that level with those guys. We were winning, sure, because of those guys. Those goals and points will cover up a lot of sins. And Nico always is underrated on his defensive side of his game. But that's still on Lindy to some extent. And I think it's a valid criticism to go, okay, as fans, I think it is too. We want to see him communicate to us that there's something in the work, that he is aware of this problem, that he sees it this way. And I'm not sure that he does. I mean, have you heard a particular statement where you feel like Nico's on the same page as what you expect defensively from this team? I'm not sure.
I really haven't.
No.
And I haven't. And, it's this team, like I said, last year, like whatever happened last year, whatever they bought into last year worked. Is it just too many
Lindy
new
gets
guys?
all the credit for that, too.
Right.
He did a great
is
job.
It just too many new guys maybe that do have to figure themselves out, but at the same, figure everything out, I guess. But I just think that, when this team has a bad shift offensively, he is fucking throwing them in the blender and changing everything up. He has kept the same defensive pairings all season. Like
it's so unlike him. Why is this?
It is. It's only the forwards that he messes around, and he doesn't. But if the defensive pairings aren't working right now, I mean, the only time that he has Luke up with Hamilton is when we're behind, and he shortens the bench and throws him out there to try and get some offense. And I understand that, but
That's not
why?
a defensive move, though. That's
not a defensive move.
That's tapping your defense for extra offense. What does he think about the defense? What are his moves when it comes to defense? Can you point to any?
Yeah, I mean, I think Marino has had one good game this year. I really hope he finds it. And like you said, Dan, they got to, if they haven't done it already, they need to sit down with him and be like, hey, dude, what is going on here?
Yeah,
like
I feel like he has a story to tell. Of course, he shouldn't be talking to the media about it, but I feel like there's a reason things aren't working well for him. I think there's a system problem. I really do. I haven't put my finger on exactly what it is, but I think a guy like Marino is too intelligent and wants to win to produce what he's producing here without some kind of conflict in the system or lack thereof. I really do believe that if you could get the straight dope from him, he would, I'm sure criticize himself to some extent as a player, but if he was going to be completely honest, and I don't expect him to, he would tell you that there's a system problem here.
Or just to play devil's advocate, who'd he play with all of last year?
Severson.
No. Graves.
Oh, I'm sorry, Graves. Yeah.
Graves, missing Graves is an important thing, but I mean, was he the kind of guy who's like, I'm going to go up and Graves is going to cover for me?
And I think they had a really good system playing together. They played well off each other. They knew where each other were. They would bail each other out. Each guy, and is that a problem right now that he's more comfortable playing with? I mean, who's he been playing with? Luke Hughes. Ball. Ball. It's been Luke and Smith. Is it just something about Ball's game that is taking Marino out of his game?
It's where I would start. I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. I thought those two should be playing together. And, you correctly pointed out Ball's not the problem. And I'm not suggesting he is. I'm just suggesting chemistry-wise, it just seems like I want to put Luke up with him. And I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen at this point?
Put Siegenthaler and Smith together. I mean, if you're going to keep Smith in the lineup, make them your bottom pair and give them your least amount of minutes. And then Hamilton should be playing with Ball, and Marino should be playing with Luke. I want to see that. Let's just, maybe each one kind of has a more of a stay-at-home guy. The other one, except for the third pairing, which is more just two defensive guys, which is what you need.
I don't know if it's going to work, but why haven't we seen it yet? That's a great idea to try it, right?
I mean, Luke Hughes playing with John Marino, I think, makes a little bit of sense. And I loved everything I saw about Ball and Hamilton, the very short little sample that we saw them play last season. I think they were together a couple of shifts this year. But, why the hell not? Like, that's just I hate watching this team, and then Lindy did it to us last year too, and just make these head-scratching moves that I don't understand. This team did it with the way that they handled Akira Schmid last year I didn't understand it. It didn't make sense. The defense being exactly the same, like we all know the definition of fucking insanity, dude. It's not going to change. It's been bad. So, I don't understand what he thinks is going to change if you don't make the change.
The pairings are a big problem. I totally agree with you. We've just seen some change there. I'm going to tell you that I don't think it's 100% enough because a lot of times when we're penned in our zone, I don't think we have a set play for which forward is supposed to come back and be the third defenseman in a situation like that. That's where I've seen us lacking a lot is that forward who's going to help dig out from a good forecheck because you always need that guy. He's going to be your forward who pitches in on defense more than the other two are just looking to break out.
Yeah, I mean I agree. There's something about this team's identity right now that they just don't have one. Who are they? That's just who are the New Jersey Devils?
Yeah. Well, what do you think about the upcoming game? Do you think there's a better shot tomorrow?
I still do. I can't
knock Bobby down.
Not given.
Can't knock Bobby down.
There's a reason that all of us picked. I'm joking about the scores we picked about the Avs game, but there's an actual reason we did that. If you could just go back a few days ago, because we looked at the way the team played, right? How the team played, how they looked like they were galvanizing around each other. They were going to play more team defense. We didn't just throw out numbers because we're huge fans and we just want them to win. Okay, I might have done that, but we didn't all do that. So a bump in the road, it could still be. I think that they're going to pull it together with the Capitals. I don't like the way they play against the Capitals most of the time. So it's kind of like a trap game, and last time they kicked our ass.
They did
So
not play very well
think
last
they're going
time.
It's a trap!
Sorry.
I think they're going to come out hard. I still think they're going to win that game. I did have it down as a shutout, but probably won't do that.
But you're still going to go with a Devil win.
A Devil win for sure.
A
convincing win.
Convincing win. So convincing win would be by 2 or more goals.
At least 2 with this team, yeah.
Oh, yeah. 2 or more.
Yeah.
2 or more, not an empty netter, is a convincing win.
And I'll tell you that 2-goal lead will not be a convincing lead for me as a fan going through this game.
No, it wasn't last year either. That's the one thing I have to say, that they always had trouble holding leads. But what do you think?
I don't feel good about this right now. I think it's very possible that they pull it together. But, I can also see some room for some more confusion in the slide. I'm not sure what I'm going to get. Either I'm going to be very pleasantly surprised and Lindy and the team have done something different, or I think what's unfortunately a little bit more likely is we're going to see a little bit of a repeat of what we saw against the Avs, a team that is just making too many defensive mistakes. I just don't see from where they're going to shore all that up in one game. That was a lot. It was the worst defensive game they played. So I'm unfortunately thinking we're going to see a higher likelihood of that than what really needs to happen, and it can still happen, which is, tighten up.
Bobby, do you have our schedule handy?
Yes, I do.
I got one too, yeah.
What do you need to know?
Just the week after who are we playing and when?
So we got the Jets on Tuesday.
Okay, so
Penguins
we play
on
Friday and then we don't play again until Tuesday, so we're going to Winnipeg,
Yep.
I'm guessing then? Okay.
Yep. Penguins Thursday, Rangers on Saturday.
Big week up.
Yeah, it is a big week, especially with 2 divisional games in there.
Yep.
I want to, how do I feel about tomorrow? I'd say I have to see it to believe it. If they're, show me something. That's it. I want to see this team come out and play good. Am I confident that they're going to? No, I'm not. I'm just not right now.
It's understandable.
I guess be at home. Do you think they're going to play a little better being at home? After
I don't know. They've been a better road team this year. I mean, they only lost 2 games so far on the road.
Right. And that last game was on the road. And
they
coming
only lost
home,
2 at home too. Then
maybe they're happy being home this time. I'm hoping. I don't know.
And if Nico is back in the lineup tomorrow, I will feel a lot better. Just to have that, him coming back and that uplifting, oh shit, okay, our captain's back. Let's go out and play our ass off for him. And Nico has a way of how hard he plays. The teams, the guys around him, usually he leads by example. They'll start playing, a little bit tougher, a little bit harder because they see him doing what he does, and he's always had that ability. So if he comes back, I'll feel better about it, but I'm not feeling good. Like you said, Washington last year, we had Washington's number, but I mean, this season and like the last 10 before that, they've kicked our ass. They've owned us. So, I want to see it. I just want to see a good team defensive game. And I'm not even worried about scoring anymore. I'm not so concerned about that. I do feel that this team is able to score when needed. They got to just keep the puck out of their net. I mean, they were hanging with Colorado, playing poorly. They were hanging with Colorado for 2 periods. And then the floodgates opened up. I mean, Schmid only had 4 starts this year. I
know. That's what I was thinking. Like, I would say I want Schmid in because I need to see more starts from him. Let's give him this game. But I'll be honest with you. I think they need a win right now, and I'm feeling stronger about a win coming out of Vanacek than Schmid. And I want to see them win and turn things away, from a possible slide. So I'm kind of looking at it as a bigger game than it should be for just playing, the Capitals in this point in the season. It should not be a big game, but I kind of look at it as a pivotal game.
And Schmid did get pulled in the first period, after the first period against Washington.
That's
the
true.
Last time we played. So I would probably go Vanacek, maybe throw Schmid in at Winnipeg, and then you'd throw Vanacek in for the Penguins and the Rangers. That Ranger game can be ugly. If we're playing like this, that Ranger game could be ugly.
Yeah, I think Devils fans really would appreciate their team getting it together before that because the Rangers have been playing a really good clip. And you say it could be ugly. Yeah, you're not kidding. I mean, the Rangers playing a good team game like this can dismantle the Devils right now. And that's something that, we know nobody wants to see that, especially because it's not that you don't want to lose, but you got a better team. You just got to get your shit together, guys.
And like you just said, Bobby, what are we, 4 points behind them?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that game Saturday is a 4-point swing. That's how you have to look at it. It is a 4-point swing. You have to win that game on Saturday. Now, I'm not going to say if you're even going to sniff the top of the Metropolitan Division, because there's, a whole lot of hockey left. But I just think too, like, kind of remind them who you are. You know what I mean? Like, remind them that that last year wasn't a fluke in the playoffs. You're a better team than them. You haven't been playing it, but you are a better team than them. And they got, just whatever's got to get done, whatever levers have to be pulled, man, fucking pull them. This team now, 12 games in, now's the time to really start. You're starting to see separation as far as the teams that are really good and playing really good, the teams that are on the bottom. And there's a couple in that muddy middle that are just trying to figure it out. I don't think we thought the Devils were going to be in that muddy middle trying to figure it out.
No, they definitely can pick this up. And unfortunately, it looks like through this whole stretch of games, through the Ranger game, we're not likely to have Jack Hughes back. And I think it's time to just forget about that fact and go, hey, Jack's going to be back when he's back. What does this team need to do? That has nothing to do with Jack. Let's get that shit done.
Yeah, Great. It's going to be a tough week too. Sometimes I feel like I don't want to play the Rangers. That could actually be a blessing for the team to play them, especially if they win one or two. If they're just kind of meddling around 500 again, it does bring out a different team. And I think that fear is a real thing too when you're going against some of these teams that want to kick your ass. The Rangers want revenge from last year. It's obvious how well they're playing. So the Devils do know that going in. And I think that's part of the way you step up your game. But more than anything, anytime we play the Rangers, you're going to have that extra jump. So
where's the game?
Maybe that's going to help.
That game is home.
Oh, nice.
Home, yes.
Nice. Okay. So there'll be half Ranger fans there.
Yeah, what they want that game on paper way more than we do.
Yeah.
And that could be dangerous because I hope, like Bobby said, they have a little fear about that. You got a good team coming in and they want revenge, but I get it.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to come back on Saturday night. We're going to talk about, hopefully, starting to talk a little optimism on Saturday after tomorrow's game. Maybe we start seeing this team moving in the right direction and we can get a little excited about it. Maybe they get, their shit together a little bit by next Saturday where we're playing the Rangers, because that really is the big game. But they got 3 more before that, and you can't be looking towards next week. We can, but they can't. Got to take care of these 3. So anybody else? You guys have anything else you want to talk about tonight?
That covers it for me.
Good, man.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for checking us out, giving us a listen. We really appreciate the hell out of you guys. Wherever you're listening to us, a positive review, 5-star review, a comment, 5-star review goes a long way. Help us promote the podcast. Check us out, the YouTube channel. Give us a like and a subscription. That's about it, man. For Dan, Bobby, Chris, we're the Uncle Puckers, and we'll see you when we see you.
Puck is out.
Later.
It's over, Johnny. It's over!
Over.